Hello everyone. Today I'm going to present my summer research, Examination of Audit Planning Risk Assessments using Verbal Protocol Analysis. This is an exploratory study. Audit risk assessment is probably one of the more complex audit judgments because it influences the nature, the timing, and the extent of audit procedures. The purpose for our project is to investigate audit judgments that are made by more experienced auditors, in this case, audit managers and audit partners, during a real-time risk assessment discussion. The audit risk literature emphasizes inherent risk assessment, which is the basis for our first research questions. In the first research questions, we want to know the kind of information that auditors are using when making risk assessments, how they're making evaluations using that information, and what are the key audit decisions that result from the planning discussion. The second component of the literature focuses on a combined risk assessment, which leads to the fourth research question, where we want to evaluate if auditors perform a combined risk assessment. Do auditors assess inherent risk and control risk in the same planning discussion? Then the last component of the literature discusses the risk assessment approach. So in the last research question, we want to evaluate whether auditors are using a top-down approach or if they're using a directed strategy. For our methodology, we use a modified version of verbal protocol analysis to capture 4 verbal protocols for partners and managers during the planning discussion. Because experts have been found to be less able to verbalize knowledge as they become more competent, one of the advantages of using this modified methodology is that it can potentially provide richer information, allowing us to understand the risk assessment task better. The results for the first research question are very intuitive. We're finding that auditors primarily retrieve information from memory and largely focus on the evaluation of inherent risk factors. For the second research question, we're finding that auditors focus on financial and non-financial information to identify risk, and that similar risks, such as going concern, are consistently evaluated. However, we're finding that certain risks, such as earnings management, which are required to be evaluated by auditing standards, are only discussed in 2 of the 4 verbal protocols. For the third research question, with regards to audit decisions, we're finding that there are more audit decisions that are made at the financial statement account level. Then with respect to materiality, we're finding that auditors do not address materiality on an account-by-account basis as frequently as we would have expected. For the results of the fourth research question, we're finding that auditors perform a combined risk assessment. They in fact assess inherent risk and control risk in the same planning discussion. However, the extent to which the control environment and control activity components is what varies. For example, we see that the control environment Specifically, management's tone at the top is largely the focus during the control risk discussion. However, if we look at control activities, Verbal Protocol 1 discusses control activities on a high level, a business process level, whereas the last protocol discusses control activities on a more specific basis. For our last research question about the risk assessment approach, we're finding that auditors primarily use a top-down approach, which is suggested by the standards. In conclusion, we employ think-aloud concurrent verbal protocols to capture how it is that auditors perform the risk assessment process in the planning phase of the audit. We provided insights that can potentially enhance the risk assessment process by developing a decision support system, for example, or by training auditors to emphasize certain risk factors. Thank you.